Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about a kind of figure I've always been fascinated by, witches. Whenever I look up images of witches, I keep running into the same strange yet familiar scene. A small house standing alone deep in the forest, balanced on a pair of chicken legs. Following that image led me, for the first time, to the owner of that house, Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is one of the most important and also most contradictory figures in Slavic folklore. In some stories, she appears as a cruel and terrifying old witch. In others, she feels more like a forest goddess, a figure who governs nature, time, and even life and death. She tests those who wander into her domain, punishes arrogance, and yet, at certain moments, offers guidance, help, or even gifts. It's this inability to be easily categorized that made me feel like a single image would never be enough to fully capture her. So I started asking myself a question. Is there a form that can hold rumors, clues, and fragmented narratives without needing to offer one clear, definitive answer? While I was circling around these questions, I came across a class on Skillshare that really inspired me. This video is sponsored by Skillshare, and the class I want to share became part of how this project took shape. It's Making Your First Zine, From Idea to Illustration by Kate Bingaman-Bird. What I took away from this class wasn't just the history of zines or how to make one. It reminded me that I'm allowed to experiment, to try things out, to not have all the answers up front, and to let those answers slowly emerge through the process of making. And that made me realize that maybe Baba Yaga's story is actually best told as a single sheet zine, something you fold, unfold, and flip through, getting closer to her step by step without ever fully seeing her. What I really appreciate about Skillshare is that even years after leaving art school, I still get to learn from artists and designers across so many different fields. Not just techniques, but how they think and how they approach their work. If you're curious about scenes, illustration, or exploring new creative directions, Skillshare has so many thoughtful step-by-step classes. The first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today. Alright, now let's see how we can put what we've learned into practice. Once I actually started working on it, I realized pretty quickly that turning a story into a zine was far more complex than I'd imagined. A zine isn't just a series of images placed page by page. It's a form of storytelling that depends on folding, flipping, and unfolding. For me, the most challenging part was the composition. I wanted each individual page to feel meaningful on its own, but at the same time, when the paper is fully unfolded, all the images should come together to form one complete picture. That meant I had to think about 3 things at once: the beauty of each page, the overall composition of the entire sheet, and the narrative connections between the images. Honestly, there were moments when this process really stressed me out. Before settling on a structure, I spent some time studying different single-sheet zine folding methods. Some emphasize a clear reading order, while others work better as purely visual collages. This time, I chose 4 different single-sheet zine folding methods each dividing the paper into 8 sections. I created sample templates for all of them, which you can download and print from the description below. On these templates, the numbers indicate the reading order. The scissors icon marks where to cut. Yellow lines show mountain folds, and blue lines show valley folds. Now let's make a scene together. Method 1. Start with a sheet of paper and divide it into 8 equal sections. You can also print my template if you prefer something more visual. Then fold along the colored lines, yellow outward, blue inward. Cut along the sections marked with scissors. You will quickly end up with a small scene. In this method, the cover and back cover are on the reverse side of the paper. Method 2. Fold along the yellow line in the center. And then cut the section marked with scissors. After that, fold along the blue lines. The key feature of this method is that everything, including the cover and back cover, stays on the same side of the paper. Method 3. Again, fold along the central yellow line. Cut where indicated. And then fold along the blue lines. With this method, the cover and back cover are on the opposite side of the paper. Method 4. This one uses a horizontal format. First, fold along the blue center line. Cut the sections marked with scissors. And then fold along the yellow lines. You end up with a landscape-oriented scene, with the cover and back cover on the reverse side as well. In the end, I chose method 3 for this Baba Yaga scene. It felt especially fitting for Baba Yaga's story. As you flip through the pages, you encounter scattered clues, rumors, and symbols. But when you fully unfold the paper, you realize that all these fragments belong to the same whole. Now, let's return to Baba Yaga's story. What fascinates me most about Baba Yaga is that she isn't purely evil. So, on this page, I painted both sides of her, the grotesque old witch and the forest goddess. They opposite each other, and yet they coexist. Have you ever felt like giving up because a drawing just isn't working? That definitely happened to me here. My solution was to simply move on to another page and start again. One of the most well-known Baba Yaga stories is Vasilisa the Beautiful. In it, Baba Yaga gives Vasilisa a scout lantern to light her way home. In many Eastern European tales, Baba Yaga flies through the forest in a giant wooden mortar, using a pestle to clear her path and a broom to erase her tracks behind her. These images are closely tied to ancient practices, alchemy, medicine, and ritual work, which, in medieval times, were often labeled as witchcraft. In many legends, Baba Yaga's chicken-legged house is surrounded by glowing skulls, warning intruders not to come any closer. Three riders of different colors frequently appear in Baba Yaga's stories. These three riders are said to be her servants, hinting at Baba Yaga's control over the cycle of day and night, and the natural order itself. The red rider and the black rider, symbolizing moon and night. The white rider, symbolizing daytime or dawn. In some stories, Baba Yaga owns a comb that can conjure an entire forest. I found this idea irresistible, so I knew I had to include it. In one corner, I also painted a traditional oven, an object that appears again and again in Baba Yaga stories. At the very center of the composition is today's true protagonist, the chicken-legged house. I've always found the chicken-legged house deeply compelling. It isn't simply a house that belongs to her. It's a dwelling that moves according to her will. She isn't bound by hearth and home. Instead, the home is bound to her. Baba Yaga transcends the flat witch archetype found in many folktales precisely because of this duality. She can feel almost heroic in one moment and deeply antagonistic in the next. By combining the evil witch with the fairy godmother, she becomes something far more unpredictable and far more powerful. Perhaps that's why Hayao Miyazaki, in Spirited Away, drew inspiration from Baba Yaga when creating Yubaba, a character who is both severe and strangely protective. Finally, it was time to fold and cut. I really hoped I wouldn't ruin everything. I titled this scene, "Who is Baba Yaga?" The cover features her iconic chicken-legged house, but I deliberately hid it in shadow. I didn't want to depict Baba Yaga herself, but rather the traces she leaves behind in other people's stories. This scene became a very different kind of creative experience for me. Many things didn't go according to plan. More often than not, I chose to follow the process as it unfolded, accepting wherever it led me. Perhaps that uncertainty is exactly the space I wanted to leave for this story. Once the scene was finished, I flipped through it again, this time as a book. As the pages open and close, Baba Yaga's image is never fully revealed. What remains are only fragments, the silhouette of a house, scattered rumors, and symbols repeated through generations. When it comes to Baba Yaga, maybe there will never be a single definite answer. But it is through these retellings, misunderstandings, and reimaginings that she continues to exist. I hope this small scene opens up a path for your own imagination. Thank you for walking this path with me. I'll see you in the next story.